गोवर्धनगिरीशं स्मरामि गोवर्धनगिरीशं स्मरामि अनिशं गोवर्धनगिरीशं स्मरामि अनिशं गोवर्धनगिरीशं स्मरामि अनिशं गोपिकादिमनोहरं कवितकंसादिहरं गोवर्धनगिरीशं स्मरामि अनिशं गोपिकादिमनोहरं कवितकंसादिहरं गोवर्धनगिरीशं गोविन्दनामसारं गजेन्द्ररक्षणधीरं गोविन्दनामसारं गजेन्द्ररक्षणधीरं कविजननिर्मलतारं कनकचित सुशरीरं कविजननिर्मलतारं कनकचित सुशरीरं रविशशिनयनविलासं 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 रमणीयमुखाभासं शिवगणादिविश्वासं श्रीगुरुभुवमनोलासं रविशशिनयनविलासं रमणीयमुखाभासं शिवगणादिविश्वासं श्रीगुरुभुवमनोलासं गम सगसनि सनि स मग मग गम गम सगसनि सनि स मग मग मद मद निधनि स मग सनि सनि द मग सनि गोवर्धनगिरीशं रविशशिनयनविलासं रमणीयमुखाभासं शिवगणादिविश्वासं श्रीगुरुभुवमनोलासं गम गम सगसनि सनि स मग मग मद मद निधनि स मग सनि सनि द मग सनि गोवर्धनगिरीशं स्मरामि अनिशं गोपिकादिमनोहरं कवितकंसादिहरं गोवर्धनगिरीशं स्मरामि।
यस्यान्तर्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नाम गोत्रं न सूत्रं नो जातिर्नैव वर्णा न भवति पुरुषो नानपुंसं न च स्त्री नाकारं नो विकारं न हि जनिमरणं नास्ति पुण्यं न पापं तत्त्वं नो तत्त्वमेकं सहजसमरसं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानं वर्षिष्ठान्तेव सदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वेदान्तार्थविभासकाय यतये शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादिनगेन्द्रसङ्घपवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभितां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततं पूर्णाय बोधात्मने अपारसच्चित्सुखवारिराशेः यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तदभावसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः। कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मनां सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीं। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः। प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। श्रुति विप्रतिपन्नाते यदा स्थास्यति निश्चला समाधौ अचला बुद्धिः तदा योगम् अवाप्स्यसि। We have spoken on this verse last day. There is one verse in Ashtavakra Samhita where Ashtavakra says, when a person can no more bear physical distraction and also he can no more bear intellectual and mental distractions, scatteredness, kaya asaha, chitta asaha, everything becomes unbearable. That is saha means to bear, endure. You can no more bear thinking. I won't call it thinking because thinking is a conscious process. Like you have to take the tumbler, you take the hand there and bring it here. That is a natural, necessary, needful thing. It is, you can call it mindful thing. But this is not thinking, this is thoughting, which we know. Thoughting. It is like unnecessary thinking. So that you are no more ready to bear it. You become dispassionate towards it. That is asaha. One of our professors used to say, instead of saying unbearable, unendurable, he used to say unsahikyable. Mixing two languages. It's unsahikyable, he used to say. We can contribute new words to English. A lot of new words already we have contributed. So one more word you can take. So you no more want to stay in that state of thoughting. The brain is abuzz with activity. So much thinking. And every thinking is impregnated with ego. Every thought, it carries the I thought, the me inside it. Hence, whatever might be the thought, pleasurable, pleasant or unpleasant, there is some disturbing element, a thorn inside it. And the thorn is what we called in the last verse Kalilam. It is Chitta Kalilam. If you call it Kalalam, there is another word, Kalalam. It means embryo, fetus. That fetus which is there in the womb, in the Garbhabhatra. That is called Kalalam tu Ekaratrena. The Shastra says, when the Jiva first, that seeding has happened, in the first night, it is called Kalalam. I don't know whether medical science has gone to that state where you can detect it in the first night.
Only during the conception.
Yes. And the time. That is called Kalalam. So like that, this ego also is so vague. You cannot hold it. You cannot catch it. It is beyond the grasping of the intellect. You just grope inside. When you do self-enquiry, Atma Vichara, the first stage is, we say, look inside, look inward, turn inward. But who is turning inward? Who is turning inward? You just close the eyes. But okay, after closing the eyes, who is looking? Simple factual answer can be given is the intellect is looking inside. The buddhi is looking inside. And what is it looking at? It is trying to locate the culprit, the hiding fellow, the I. Who is this I? What is this I? So much suffering, so much pain. To whom? Who is suffering? Who is thinking? Who is the doer? Who is the enjoyer? What is this I? What is this me in the inner world? You seek the me disappears. That is why it is called mirage. You see the me, you feel the me, you approach it, it is not there. Only the consciousness is there. You rush to locate the water in the mirage, but the water is not there. Like that, you seek the me is not there. And every thought, every emotion is carrying this me inside it, so it is a kind of pain, conflict. That conflict is called Vipratipatti. For everything there is one step, you keep it back, withdraw. That is Vipratipatti. Pratipatti means right understanding. Vipratipatti means, it also means perfect understanding. It also means Vikala Pratipatti. Aneka sadhya sadhana shrudhibihi prakashana shrudhibihi vipratipanna nana pratipanna. That is the word Bhashyakara uses. The mind becomes diffused, scattered. Diffused, scattered. So many things come inside. There is no one-pointedness. There is no shanti. It is not settling down. Such a state is called Vipratipatti. See, you come here and you come to a junction and you have no clear-cut idea which road you should take. So go this way, you are not sure. That way, you are not sure. No way you are sure. After going 10 steps or after coming right before this house, you think this is not the road. Go backward. This is Vipratipatti. This is, I am giving an example. Like that, the mind is sankalpa vikalpatmaka. It has a sankalpa. This is the goal. And once you start moving towards it, vikalpa comes. Withdraw. Vikala kalpana comes. Reverse thinking comes. This kind of conflict happens. This is vipratipatti. And this vipratipatti, the main cause for vipratipatti is collecting information through the senses, especially through the ears. Shruti, Shravana. Shruti vipratipatti. Shruti vipratipatti. You hear and come to know, oh, this is that. Now you say, no, consultation. You consult somebody and he tells you, you should not be like this. You should be very ambitious. At least you should become a panchayat president. Then you have to strive. If you have to become the prime minister, you have to start from there. Strive, do all kind of things, fight, stand for election, win, everything you have to do, and ultimately you become a chief minister or prime minister for 5 years. This is what we call as ashashvatam. And you know, one well-known speaker, he told, there is a saying that you should have that attitude of a madman. A very interesting thing. You know what he said? He's a madman. And what is special about him? You have to become prime minister, you have to strive. But for a madman, he just thinks that he is the prime minister. No striving, no effort, nothing, just effortless. If you ask him, I am the prime minister, who is here to question? He is not bothered about border problem. No problem for him. Just thinking prime minister. Like that, there is no question of fighting for anything because there is no place to reach. You are not, outwardly the body can move, but inwardly where can you move? There is no question of moving. You are the truth. The truth has already happened to you. It is your own existence, your own self. So, when the right understanding comes, samyak jnana comes, your mind, your intellect, when perfect knowledge comes, no doubt at all. When you see a rope, if the doubt, misapprehension is there, whether it is a snake, then thoughts come. But when you see the rope, then no more doubt, no more questioning. Right? Like that, when the right understanding comes, that also is a Shruti Vipratipatti. You go to the master and do Shravana, listening, and then reflect on it, contemplate, then come to the right conclusion. Then the intellect becomes quiet. The mind no more imagines things. There is confirmation, there is conviction. Then what happens? Stasyati, it stays, it abides. Where? Nishala. It is the ultimate fruit of real satsanga. Nishala tattvam. Samadhau. In what state? In samadhi. Samadhi means peace. It is a simple thing, The greatest Jivan Muktas like Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, Shankaracharya, or many saints, even now many are there. What is the lakshana, the symptom, the sign by which you can know that this person's mind has touched that center? Like a flower which gives out fragrance, in the presence of an enlightened being, a strange kind of soothing feeling comes. Peace comes. It puts your mind to rest. It puts your intellect to quietude. Naturally, a mildness comes, a relaxation comes in the presence of a realized person. That is the impact of samadhi. And such a person's heart is in yoga state. And Bhagavan, what is the one word message of Gita? If you ask, naturally, formerly children, now children even before conception they decide. But formerly after 10th standard, everybody will ask, what are you going to do? They will ask. And this boy have no idea what is there in life. He will have many, many ideas, and everybody will donate their ideas. Free. And all these informations will create Shruti Vipratipatti. He is himself confused. And the so-called well-meaning advisors go with their presentation of an idea and get confused. This is Vipratipatti. See, this Vipratipatti is there in the world. Like that in spiritual life also, you come inside and do too much discussion with people, too much things you come to know, too many books you read. This happens. It's a peculiar state. See, otherwise when you have clarity, when you have insight, you are thrilled. You read a beautiful book, there is insight, there is clarity. A thrill comes, you are more and more interested in reading. But when you get this kind of restlessness, a spiritual restlessness in the intellect, then you are disillusioned by the phenomenon of thinking. You now have decided to put the intellect to quietude. The right understanding has already happened. Now no more this head office locked down. Otherwise it will constantly spread corona. It will speak in Hindi. It will always ask you to do something. Corona, it will say. And you will be constantly doing, enjoying, getting into troubles. So this virus will come from the intellect, this corona virus. It's not corona, it is corona virus. So, to escape from it, first step is lockdown. The intellect brain is locked. It becomes quiet. That is why we say the brain wants to think. Think Narayana, 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 Shiva, 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 Shiva. Constantly you chant the Nama and the fellow goes to sleep, becomes quiet. Many thoughts comes, and all the thoughts, they are channelized into that mantra. And a rhythm, a vibration, a throbbing happens there. And the intellect becomes quiet, shanta, shitala. Tada, that is yoga. And Bhagavan says, this is the most precious state, Arjuna, tasmat, as you are asking me, as you have find the suffering, misery of thinking, you take a resolution to attain that inner quietude, that inner stillness. Tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna. The more and more you think, O Arjuna, suffering is there. Thinking is suffering. Too much brooding, too much thinking, I, me, my life. This is great trouble. No, we need not go and take another birth after death. Every moment the mind is taking birth somewhere in some form and suffering and dying. Incessantly this sarga is happening. Gita uses the word sarga, means creation, projection. It is happening. I. And I live, I have this life. And past life also you can take. The time travel is very easy in the mind. Past memory, some file you take and live that life. Future imaginary life also you will live. Present only caught out. Just ignore. Then now you ignore. Now also you are in the imaginary plane, past plus future. So this is happening. Why the mind is so much enamored by thinking? Because it is also restless, hungry, thirsty to get immersed in the infinite. The beauty of the Lord, the bliss of the Lord, the steadiness of the truth, it is seeking outside. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi has written a beautiful verse in Aksharamana Malai. Úர் சுற்று உளம் விடாது உனை கண்டு அடங்கிட உன் அழகை காட்டேன் அருணாச்சலா. That verse Bhagavan says, this mind is wandering about in the world. Everywhere it is wandering. So many sensory pastures, imaginary gardens, it is wandering. What for? To see some beauty, to enjoy, to experience pleasure. It is wandering about. And that mind can become quiet, it can subside, it can rest only when it sees, when it perceives the ultimate beauty. So here, Bhagavan is saying, Arjuna is saying, Ramana Bhagavan is saying, Arunachala, reveal the supreme beauty, the transcendental beauty of yours. Once I see that, my mind will become completely fulfilled, quiet, satisfied. And that satisfied person is Sthita Prajna. When you see a Sthita Prajna, what do you see in him? You see complete relaxation. He has completed his work. That is what many felt when they saw Ramana Maharshi. That might have happened with Shankaracharya, with Buddha, with many sages. How do they recognize them? By seeing that greatest contentment, tripti. Vidyaranya Swami, in one of the verses in Panchadashi, he says that very chapter is called Tripti Deepa. And Samadhi, he says, is Tripti, is contentment, complete contentment. In Bhagavata, there is a beautiful picture that King Yadu is seeking, he is a real seeker, genuine seeker. He accidentally meet a great sage on the bank of a river. He just observed him, very young person, very much immersed in the peace, so much of joy in him, so much of contentment in him, very radiant, and playing with children, completely light, cool. Seeing him, this king goes to him and asks, what is the magic by which you have attained this state? Is it possible to be so blissful? To be so happy? I am a king, but I have not found it. I have to just clap my hands, somebody will bring something. Whatever I want will come. But I have not found that bliss in that kind of happiness. But I find you the epitome of happiness. What is the secret? And then that sage, Dattatreya, one of the greatest, mightiest sages, he gives the teaching. He asks the king to learn from everywhere how to be quiet. That is the learning, I've heard an anecdote about Socrates. Every day he will go to the market and will come back without buying anything. He will enter every shop, look at every goods and observe the customers also, and will come back happily without buying anything. One day somebody asked him, why do you go every day? Because I want to see the market. What all things are there? And you observe the customers also. Yes. Then why you come back without anything? Because I don't want anything. Then why do you go there? I go there to see what all things I am living without. Without what all things I am living happily. Is bazaar mein musavir. Kya kya tamasha ho raha hai. It's a beautiful doha of Kabir. He says, in this bazaar, in this market, I am just an observer. I am just wandering. I don't want anything. I have not come here to collect goods. Those who have come here to buy, they are busy, concerned whether this is right, this is good, this is bad. And another group, they are all busy about thinking about selling. I am neither interested in selling nor interested in buying. I am just a happy observer. So that is it. So a sthita prajna, a jivan mukta, an enlightened being, is a witness to everything. He is a witness to the world, he is a witness to his own thoughts, he is a witness to his own individuality. Because this individuality also belongs to nature. He is just a witness. There was once a great sage in Kerala. Of course, he was not a sannyasi. He was a family man. And he was not living by begging, living in any ashram. He was living by selling some baskets and all. He was called Pakanar. And he was an enlightened being, born to a great sage. So he just will sell his goods everywhere, and with that money, very little money, he will live happily. His wife was also a very evolved soul. One day he was walking, he was very hungry, no money. And 2 days, nothing he got. And he was so hungry, he could not take one step without eating something. There, somebody was selling banana, fruits. He has no money. And nobody was found nearby. His mind told him, to live, you can take. He felt you can take. But inside there was a conversation. His intellect says, why not die? Why should you take this banana without his permission and suffer? No, I will take. He took one banana and ate it. By the time he finished, that shopkeeper came. And all others also came. They started beating him. He has stolen a banana. And he said, beat him again. I told him not to take. Without listening to me, he went there and took that fruit. And they asked, who told you? I told. To whom? To myself. Not to take the fruit. But without obeying me, this body, this hand, it went and took the fruit. So he deserves a nice beating. So that is one state, You are a witness to yourself. Your own body, mind lives in the world, gets hit by destiny, suffering. You watch, observe. Yadi deham prithak kritya chiti vishramya tishtasi adhunaiva sukhi shanto bandhamukto bhavishyasi. As Ashtavakra says, you will become a Jivan Mukta. You will be liberated here and now. How? Yadi deham prithak kritya. Separating the body from your real self, you just sit, abide in this pure consciousness. Chiti vishramya tishtasi. As pure awareness you abide. Yadi deham prithak kritya chiti vishramya tishtasi adhunaiva. Here, now, sukhi, you will attain happiness. Shanta, you will attain peace. Bandha mukto bhavishyasi, you will be free of all bondage. It is not a question of time duration. Tattvamasi, you are the self. And this nature, Prakriti, you just watch. Nothing can be done. We think the body is me and try to control it, change it. This is an illusion. Can you change the course of blood inside the body? Can you change your liver or kidney according to your interest? Or at least can you sleep as you please? Now I want to sleep. Sleep. It will not listen. It is another thing. You have only ignorance relationship with the body. No actual relationship. The body is not given to you. People think what we have only is this body. You do not have this body. This body has appeared in nature like many other things, like the planets, like the stars, like the tree, like the grass. This body is also there. It will not even give you an information that next moment I am going to leave you. So many years, so much breakfast, lunch, dinner, coffee, tea, load of food. So much is given, at least one information. See, my dear friend, so many days you have lived in this world, make all arrangements, tomorrow we are separating. No, because you only ignorantly consider the body as yours. Body has no information about a person like you living inside. A lizard in this house, it is very angry because I am not consulting him how to construct a room. The lizard is so unhappy because it is thinking, I am bearing the whole load of the roof. This fool doesn't know my value. If I just leave my hand, the whole thing will collapse. That is our case, our story, our autobiography. Autobiography of a lizard. That is what we have to write. We think we are bearing the load of our life. We are nobody, we are nothing. We have nothing. We have no connection with the body, we have no connection with the mind, we have no connection with the intellect. If we think we have a connection with the body, and for a time being you have this misapprehension of changing it, a time will come, because of this ignorance, you will suffer immensely. That is why Ashtavakra says, Deham prithak kritya, separate the body. Know that you are not the body. There are many intelligent sannyasis, they don't go into the prakriya of all the Vedanta. Because once you enter into that prakriya, Vivek Chudamani, there is a verse which says, it's like a forest. Shabda jalam maharanyam. Too much shabda, too much sound, too much words, meanings. New things you come to know. Maharanyam, a great forest. Chitta Brahmana Karanam. The chitta, the mind gets confused. It wanders. Ataha, so prayatnat, with immense resolution, will, intelligence, coordination. What should you do? Tattvajnat, from a real tattvajna, a knower of tattva, jnatavyam tattvam atmanaha. You have to know the tattvam, the essence, the teaching about the self. That's all. Once you know it, do not enter into this shastra jala. Become quiet. Vritti is not used. No, nothing, no delusion, no illusion about doing, no brahmana, no dream is awakened inside. This awakening of dream through some act, any act that awakens dream in you, any idea that awakens dreaming in you, will take you to samsara. So all the dream, this waking state is also a dream state is also a dream. Just learn to abide chitva darshanam tattva darshanam. Just abide in the chit and forget about everything. You have to study everything if you have to convince others. But why bother to convince? Let them think whatever they want. That lokavasana is given. Let them think whatever. Let them think about me as a madman, as a dumb man, as a fool, or as an enlightened being. Let them think anything. I am not the body. I am not this. I am the self. Aham Brahma. Brahmaivaham. Idam jagatcha sakalam chinmatra vistaritam. Whatever is being beheld is nothing but consciousness. Nothing else exists. This stability of knowledge, stability of atmanubhuti is sthita prajnatva. Such a person is sthita prajna. Arjuna, actually it is not Krishna's words. It is Arjuna's words. Because Arjuna is asking this question means in their time, during Mahabharata, a realized person is more called by this term. That is why he is asking about such a person. Krishna has not used this word before. So Arjuna is asking, hey Bhagavan, he has not used the word Buddha. He has not used the word Jnani here. Of course, Gita, there is many places Jnani is there. Jivan Mukta, that word is not there. But the word used is Sthita Prajnasya Ka Bhasha. What is the language of Sthita Prajna? Actually, Bhasha means language. Here it is translated as a mark, a sign, by which you recognize. Sthita Prajnasya Ka Bhasha. And who is Sthita Prajna, Arjuna? Why do you ask? Samadhisthasya Keshava. Oh Keshava. You know, a Sthita Prajna is one who abides in Samadhi. His mind is not in Vikshepa like me. His mind is not in Kashaya like me. His mind is not in sleep. It is not scattered. It is not in depression or tension. It is not in excitement. It is ever abiding in the self, ever aware of pure beingness. It is like the vast infinite blue sky. Not even a bit of cloud there of Vikalpa. So that kind of Sthita Prajna, his prajna, his intelligence has become steady. His Atmanubhuti has become steady. One of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's devotees, Balram Reddy, he constantly used to say, Bhagavan was always Brahman. What does it mean? If you ask, what does it mean? Everybody is always Brahman, but Bhagavan means he always was Samadhistha. That is the thing. No? Cohen also has written, there is no time when we saw Bhagavan out of that state. That is a very rare phenomenon. No time when we saw Bhagavan in a normal Vyavaharik plane. A bit of his awareness was always aflame with that state. Even though he was talking, eating, everything he was doing, but there was a flame inside him always. Whenever you go and you see, it is not like that you see Maharshi when he is in meditating in that state. There will be blossoming. But whenever you go, you never miss the Maharshi. That is Sthita Prajna. Whatever state, there is no special kind of meditation period. Now Maharshi is doing Sandhya Vandana. Now Maharshi is meditating. No. Always he is in that state. Akhandananda Saraswati Swamiji of Vrindavan, he has written a book, Pavana Prasang, in Hindi. Very beautiful. About his Guru, Udiya Baba. About his name is Purnananda Tirtha. He was a very well known Mukta Purusha in Vrindavan. So he's just wandering about, and Akhandananda Swami, a Shantanu Shastri, Dvivedi, was doing Bhagavatam. And in that Bhagavata Pandal, this he pictures very beautifully. He says, so many people were there, this great Mahapurusha, like Shiva walking, entered inside and sat quiet in a row, undisturbed, listening to the Bhagavatam. And then we stopped for Sandhya Vandana, because they were all very traditional people. So everybody went, some went to have their refreshment, to bath, do Sandhya Vandana, everything. And Akhandananda Swami said, I wanted to follow this Mahatma. So I went near him, went with him, and he just went to the bank of river Yamuna. There he sat in the same posture in which he was sitting in the satsang. He sat there, mast. That is the word he uses in the Hindi. Mast. Quiet. Nothing to do, nothing to achieve, nothing to attain, nothing to become. Any doing creates vritti. I have seen so many years of austerity, people get addicted to doingness. Doership. What is the purpose of their doing so many things? Their doership got so much strengthened. It became a vritti. It becomes a disturbance in them. So there is a state when you have to strive. And there is a state which we call as nirveda, where you have to give up everything and become quiet. As we call it mast. That's swastha. It's not easy, no? When you listen to Gita, if you are in the right moment, you listen to these words, you will become that. Otherwise, just listening you feel, oh, that is good, but it will not happen. As long as you are striving in the world, you should have spiritual striving also. Otherwise, the balance will not be there. You will get sunk in misery. So, when you know how to swim, you have to swim. When you become like a dead body, you need not swim. You will float. And the ego is not there. As long as the body has an ego inhabiting, it has to swim. You see the magic of it? When the ego is no more there, the body floats. Sattarai pola thiri. So, a Jivan Mukta Purusha, he knows that secret Two people only know. One is a Jivan Mukta, the other is dead body. But the dead body is not available for some more time. A Mukta Purusha knows nothing can affect him. That doesn't mean problem will not come. See, such a great being, Jivan Mukta, Udiya Baba Maharaj, he was hit from behind by an insane person with iron bar. That was his last affectation. So such destiny nobody can avoid. But nothing, see, the life means the period you live, at that time you have found this precious truth. No doership, no enjoyership, nothing to achieve, nothing to attain, no fear, nowhere to reach, nothing to become. At least this Shabda, these words itself, Mangala. No? Nothing specially done. If you have done some action, action will certainly bring in result. A whirlpool of thinking will happen. You cannot avoid. Turmoil will be there in the mind. You cannot avoid. So better no engagement in action. Perfectly abiding in this actionless state. And then action might happen. That will not affect you. Like the whole world is active. Like that your body also will do whatever dharma it has to do. It will not affect you. There is no volition. There is no self-created problems. There is no doership. Surrender, that is surrender and do. So that is Sthita Prajnasya Bhasha. Sign of a Sthita Prajna. So Arjuna knows that. So he is asking, Bhagavan, what is the mark of a man of steady self-realization, steady with self-experience? Will he be always steeped in samadhi? How does a Sthita Prajna, whose dhi, whose intellect has become stable, work in the world, move about in the world? Kim Prabhasheta, will he speak? Kim Asita, will he sit? Kim Vrajeta, will he move? See, the whole question looks very childish. Will he sit? Will he move? Will he speak? Will he sleep? What is it that Arjuna is asking? What will he speak? How will he sit? Where will he sit? They call him Parivrajaka. So where will he move about? Kim Prabhasheta. What will be his teaching? What will be his Prabhashana? Kim Asita. Where has he found a place to sit? Vrajeta Kim. What is the world where he move about? Muktaha Charanti Municharana Bhutanatha Vidyadhara Dvijagavam Bhuvanani Kamam. Bhagavata says they moves about not only in this world, in many, many worlds they can move about without losing the sight of their real nature. Muktaha Charanti. We are also moving about Baddhaha Charanti. Bound by Maya, bound by ignorance moving about, but a Jivan Mukta also moves about Muktaha Charati. He is a Mukta, he is a liberated being and he just moves about happily. See, we are like this contemplating, going on, discussing. At a very sacred moment, you will locate that explosive insight will happen within you. A decision will flower within you where you decide, from now onwards, I am free. I will not get into trouble. No more thinking, no more oscillation, no more cerebration, no more good, bad, guna, dosha, this, that, and I will not act. See, if I act and say no good, bad, that will be problem. I will not judge others. No more judging of people, no more judging of my own prarabdha also, no more looking at the world, no more interest in any other thing, just mast raho. Abide in the self. in the real bubbling joy of your real nature. Atma Anubhuti, Atma Aramaha, Atma Ritihi, Atma Kridaha, Atma Mithunaha. So, this is Sthita Prajna's sign, a mark, bhasha. Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha. Lalita Sahasranama, there is a verse. One name of Divine Mother. Bhasha Rupa. She is of the nature of language, sign. And what is that bhasha? Is it English, Sanskrit? No. There is a peculiar language for a realized being. The more and more you stay with an enlightened master, you will come to recognize that strange way of communication. See, with English, you can only speak with English speaking people. In Mahabharata, Shakuni says to Duryodhana, he tells, my foolish nephew, you don't understand the value of language. The purpose of language is that by which you don't make the other person understand what you think. You confuse him. That is Shakuni's language. He says, you speak so that they will not probe into what you think. Ullondru vaithu puramondru peshva. Something you keep inside and something you speak outside. So language has this problem. You cannot judge a person by listening to what he speaks. And how he looks. See, in Ramayana, that Asura, that Rakshasa, Maricha, he took the form of a golden deer. Very, very fascinating animal. And it came and danced before Sita. And Sita got enamored, attracted. She said to Rama, Swami, catch hold of that deer for me. And Rama also, Raghavopicha mohitaha. Valmiki says even Raghava got deluded. Only Lakshmana was using discrimination. See, one person is deluded, another person is attached to deluded person, both get deluded. And Lakshmana is not deluded, he is not attached. So Lakshmana said, I don't think this is a natural creature. This is something like artificially man-made. This is not original. Mrigohi evam vidhaha nasti Raghava. Hey Rama, a animal like this is non-existent. Ratna khachitaha. It looks embroidered with jewels, with diamonds. It is all foolishness. It is not a real animal. Mayaishahina samshayaha. He says, this is Maya. This is not, don't go behind it. And the animals in the forest, they perfectly understood the language of the animal. There was such a chaos in the forest. All the birds were all chirping, making so much noise. The squirrels were screaming. The other deers, other stags, they were all rushing, making a whiff and took to their heels. See, they are very intelligent, Yesterday we were putting some milk here. And I found the milk is good. And that box, something was there. I don't know what was there. These dogs, they just went there and smelled. They are not drinking. And after that, the cat came. We thought the dog is not now interested. But the cat came. It also whiffed the milk. not drinking. Can we understand like that? We have also nose, we have also smelling power, but our power is lost. This is language, bhasha. They can speak to that milk and understand what it is. But we do not have that power to communicate with things, communicate with persons, communicate with creatures and understand what they are. We get confused, deluded. And another tumbler of milk I poured into another box, happily they took. So they have found something wrong there. If we have this power, that is very easy. But we do not have that power. Even our senses can guide us. So, we do not have any language. A great poet in Malayalam said, Lord has not given human being a language by which he can communicate. All other creatures have their language. But we do not have a real perfect language. And Sthita Prajna has a perfect language by which he can communicate the truth to a deserving disciple. And that language is what we call as Mauna. And with that language, he need not speak, he just looks at the disciple. Aham Shishyavadabhami. His looking is, the Shishya is me. That oneness comes and there where aravilangum. All duality ceases and the truth shines forth. And that is the perfect language of Jiva Brahma Aikya Vritti. And that is what Arjuna is asking Bhagavan, and Bhagavan is going to speak about it, that we will see tomorrow. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Yato mamatma bhavasitvameva tato na vachyam mama kinchitasti yatha tabeshtam kurumam tathaiva tvam atmanatham ramanam vacha.